Tunki. Thank you for taking time out of your day to conduct an interview with us. Okay, so before we dive into the details of the Johns Creek Town Center, we'd like to give our listeners a chance to learn more about you.
Okay.
So the first thing is, could you share a little bit about your background, your family, and what led you to a career in civil and environmental engineering?
Okay, interesting question. I came to this country back in 1991 to pursue the master's. So after bachelor's, I was working for a couple of years. Then I realized environmental engineering is a passion, and United States has really good schools, where they have the curriculum more on the environmental engineering side, like the climate. So I came here in 91 to get my master's. Went to school for a couple of years, graduated in 93. So after graduation, I worked in Texas and Louisiana for about 6 years, more on the environmental engineering, equipment side, air pollution equipment design, wastewater treatment plant design, and the landfills. It was an interesting one, exciting career. So back in 98, decided to move into the business side. So from Houston, I moved to Florida for a couple of years, where we started the office where we are currently in there, more on the information technology. We offer more on the staffing side. So we said, okay, fine, let me move on to the business side. After a couple of years, we realized Jacksonville, Florida is not really the place to grow because of the information technology growth and those things. So we moved to Atlanta back in 2000. So what we call now Johns Creek, I've been there from 2000, the very same place. So from 98 on, I moved on to the business aspect, started more on the information technology. As I'm into the business, I realized maybe it's good to have an MBA. So I went back to Georgia State University after about 10 years and got the MBA in finance from Georgia State University, which is really helping. So in the future, for the students like you guys, work for a few years and then go back, and that's a huge advantage. You get to compare it to what you're learning to the real, the class. So from there on, I moved on to the other areas of the business on the retail and the business side. But what got me onto the political side, as a matter of fact, this morning I was watching a video from 2015 where I was at a city council meeting with my daughter and their team. They won the robotics world championship back in 2015, from the Taylor Road. So we were at the city hall at a meeting. So that's one of the reasons. I looked at the mayor and the council and said, okay, there's a lot of things that can be done from the other side of the table. So we make the decision for the city and what happens in our backyard. From there on, I started getting involved in the local community. So I served on multiple committees, all the way from the Johns Creek Arts Center to the Parks and Recreation and the Town Center master plan. There was a committee to create a vision for the Town Center area. So I was in that one. And also I was mentoring small business owners through SBA. I'm not sure if you guys know what SBA is. Okay. It's a small business administration. It's a federal government organization which supports the small business owners. So through SBA, they have a program for mentoring the small business owners who have an idea or who just started. Because I have an experience in multiple business areas. So I said, let me go back in there. So I was mentoring the small business owners, how to navigate through the hard times or even to kick off a business. So for about a year or two, I did that small business mentoring. Eventually in 2019, I said, let me go run for the city council. So that's where I started. I didn't really win in 2019, but I get to learn a lot of things in there. People sometimes think losing is a bad thing, but it's not really. You get to learn more when you lose. You look back and say, okay, what is it I could have done different? And what is it I need to do to win next time? So come to 2021, I won with the highest margin ever in the Johns Creek. So that's where it all started. And right now I'm third year into my 4-year term, and I couldn't be proud of the things that we accomplished. a lot of things are happening in Johns Creek.
That's awesome. So what drives you to serve on the Johns Creek Council? Like you already mentioned it a little bit, but when was the first time that you were like, wow, I really want to do this? And how do you see your professional background contributing to your role as like a public servant?
So like I said before, like I have the experience in multiple areas, like on the business side, on the finance, and also like a engineering, like a civil engineering and environmental engineering. I was looking at from the city's point of view. I was thinking, okay, I could use all my skills in there. There's one place that I could use, like in the city, like a stormwater, or the transportation projects, like the roads and the construction, and on the finance side, and helping on the small business owners, like the business licensing side or the business process, like help them on the business. So I said, you know what, I have these multiple skills that this is one place that I could use all my skills and to the betterment of the community. So that's when I said, okay, let me go get on the other side of the table and help them out.
Okay, awesome. And so what is your favorite memory thus far working for the city of Johns Creek?
There are multiple things, like maybe a couple of them to name is like in the town center area, like last week we just did a groundbreaking for a huge park. It's called, right now temporarily we are calling that a Creekside Park. It's right behind the city hall with two small ponds. The one behind, like two small ponds. That we approved, like it's a huge construction, close to $35 million we are spending on that, which is going to have like an amphitheater, like a kind of a boardwalk style, and a theater, like a seating, like we could have like the concerts in there, small like outdoor concerts, and like we have the greenery, and we're going to have a tunnel connecting from the one side of the 141 to the other side. So this is going to be very vibrant, looking from the 141 or Magnus Ferry. So this is a huge start for the town center area, which shows that city is not just talking about like a town center area. City is also coming and forward and doing something in that area, which is going to give an encouragement for the private investors or the other developers to come back and say, you know what, I should start investing in the town center area, or if I have something in the town center area, I should upgrade it or do something to add value.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to move on to more questions based around the building of the Johns Creek Town Center.
Okay.
So for our listeners who don't really know about the building of the town center, can you provide like a little bit of an overview of the project and like some of its key objectives?
Okay. So it all started probably, I would say, a few years back. Every city has a downtown. Like take an example of our neighboring cities like Alpharetta, Duluth. Okay, every one of them has a downtown, and there is a active area or lively. So everyone started asking us, okay, what do we have for the Johns Creek? We can't really have something called downtown. Then we realized, you know what? Let's go back and identify an area called town center, where that could be heart of the Johns Creek, or create a vibrant environment within the Johns Creek. Mm-hmm. So that's when the prior mayor and the city council formed a committee. I was part of that committee. So they formed a committee. They came and tasked them with going out and saying, okay, can you do a research and see what is the take from the residents? What do they want? Do they really want a town center? If they do, what do they want in the town center? And where do you want it to be? So that's when we spent almost 9 months or so. And with the community input, we came back and said, you know what, let's identify an area which is it's pretty much a corridor where accessibility from both sides. We identified about 192 acres, 192 or 193 acres, the town center area. We said, okay, this is the town center area. And within the town center area, there will be multiple sections. One is going to be the city hall and vibrant one. Another one is going to be on the business side. So we identified an area. That doesn't mean we're not going to focus on the other areas, but this is going to be the town center area. This is going to be hard, and this is going to feed into the other businesses too. So that's where it all started. We wanted to create a place making where we can come back and say, hey, where are you going? Okay, town center area. Mm-hmm. Or the once we approved it in the last couple of years, I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a huge development coming in the town center area, which is called Medley. Have you guys done the research on that?
I've heard a little bit about it, yes.
Have you ever been to Avalon? Okay. It's exactly like Avalon. So when I say exactly, it doesn't mean like all the same amenities, but it's kind of a vibrant one like Avalon. So the same developers who did the Avalon are building it here. So it's like half the size of Avalon, but it's already, the groundbreaking is going to happen next month in October. And right next to the Avalon, like they call it a Medley. The place, they already named it as Medley. Right next to Medley, there's a Boston Scientific.
Yes, that's already built right now.
That's already built. They're moving their research headquarters into Johns Creek. So its construction is done probably towards the end of this year or January. They're going to start.
The building next to McGinnis.
Exactly. If you're driving on the McGinnis Ferry, you can see huge building.
It's very nice. I drive that way to the gym, so I go to Lifetime. So every day that I pass by it, I always see there's like different things on it.
So it's a big one. It's a Boston Scientific, like a Johns Creek. Johns Creek is a health and wellness city. Like we want to promote the health and wellness, and Boston Scientific moving into Johns Creek with Medley adjacent to that. It's a good start. And the Creek side kicking off last week, things are happening.
Which is good. That's what our community needs.
You bet.
Okay, so what is your specific role in planning the Johns Creek Town Center? Like, what do you do? How do you contribute?
Okay, so if you know the structure of the city, there's like a mayor and 6 council members. Mm-hmm. So anything that happens in the city, all the way from the town center planning to the construction, we make the decisions. So some of these things we'll come back and say, okay, we approve it, or we take an initiative of driving it. On these ones, like we go back and connect the city staff to the business owners or the businesses who are interested in moving into the town center area. As an elected officials, we play the role of connecting or creating that environment where businesses thrive or they look forward to moving into the business areas. So I'll give you an example of it's not really in the town center, but have you guys ever been to the Collie Creek Park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Pickleball court?
I was there last night.
Okay. So you guys know, right in front of that, there's a big warehouse. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you guys know what is coming in there?
No.
Okay. That's what it's maker space, robotics, and incubations.
Oh, wow.
So that's where we came back and said, as an elected officials, we'll come back and we get the feedback from the residents. What I heard is Northview High School has more than 100 students in the robotics.
Yes,
yeah,
huge.
our robotics program is pretty big.
Yeah. So that's where hearing from the residents, we said we need something like that in the North Fulton area, because Fulton School Board doesn't really have anything in that one. So we said, okay, let's do something. So that's where we started and said, okay. So those are the things that we come back and add value, saying that listening to the residents and connecting the businesses and putting the vision forward.
Awesome. Okay, I think we already touched on this a little bit, but what was the motivation behind selecting this specific location for the town center?
Okay, so City Hall is already in that area. Mm-hmm. One, and the corridors, if you look at the McGinnis Ferry and 141. Mm-hmm. Yes. So the accessibility and those areas, we had to look at everything else, even from the planning, accessibility. When you say a new business is going to move in there, like a Medley, okay? They moved into this location because it's accessible from the McGinnis Ferry. And if you guys heard, they're expanding the McGinnis Ferry. So which is going to be connecting from the 85 to 141 to 400. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a big corridor. So there are multiple factors like the traffic, mm-hmm. accessibility, and the business's inclination to move into that area. So we got to look at all those aspects and say.
Okay. And then, so what are the major phases of the construction process and where are we currently in that timeline?
Okay, so there are multiple aspects to this one. So some places, some cities, what they do is they build it from scratch. So what we did in Johns Creek is we came back and identified an area as a town center, which already has some developments. They already have some buildings. So there's only limited empty land in there. Those areas, one city is already building it, the Creekside Park. Another one is Medley is coming in there. Boston Scientific is coming in there. So the other ones is what we're doing is we are encouraging the businesses to come back and say, you know what, there's a lot of construction happening in there. Let's upgrade our building, or let's go back and add additional amenities to our buildings. So it's not like they're building it from scratch. They're upgrading the existing buildings, or like enhancing them or tying into the existing culture. If we say Creekside Park or Medley, they're going to come back with a particular kind of a theme, or like the modern theme. So basically, like these buildings and the owners, they'll come back and say, you know what, we'll work with the city to see how we can tie into these things, because it's helping them too. Their property values are going up because of so much construction and so much development happening in there. So they would come back and say, you know what, let me contribute some and upgrade my thing. So most of the business owners are really helpful. They're coming back and saying that city is doing so much, so let's see what we can do to create a vibrant town center.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you see the town center evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's going to be like a good one. The town center, like I said, we just got started. So most of this construction, the Creekside Park is 2 years. And Medley, they are starting the groundbreaking in October. So it's going to be done in like a phased approach. So in the next 5 years, Medley is going to be ready. The Creekside Park is going to be ready. And a lot of other initiatives are happening within that area. So once these two key ones are in progress, or in the work phase, like construction, there's a lot of other businesses will get motivated. So I'm looking at in 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a vibrant town center area, which is going to be connecting both sides of the 141. And even like it's close to the Collie Creek. So the other thing we are looking at is the connectivity. There's going to be a lot of like a trails, sidewalks, bike paths. So this would be more like an area where people can come back and say, okay, I'm going to come back and just my family can have a good time. Like kids can have in the Creekside Park, they'll have a splash pads and other areas, other amenities. So as a family, you can have the complete entertainment. So we are trying to make it like a place making, or like a destination where they come back and say, you know what, every evening or a couple of times a week or the weekends, this is a place I want to hang out. So this is going to happen.
I'm so excited. This is exciting. I'm sad that we're going to be off college probably when this is done. Okay, so what advice would you give residents in Johns Creek who may want to stay informed or get more involved with the town center development?
Okay, so not just the town center area, but again, I want the residents to be involved, because whatever we do is for the betterment of the community and for the residents. So if they have some ideas or some views that they want to see city implementing it, please bring it forward. So like recently someone came forward saying that, okay, can we have that glass recycling? So recently they weren't taking the glass. So some residents came back and said, we wanted this to happen. We did one in the a south side of the town. We did another one like a pickup location within the town center area. So anything new they want to see, just bring it forward, because we can only think so far. If there are some new ideas or new initiatives, like the ones I mentioned before, the makerspace and robotics. City staff and as an elected officials, we just can't do everything ourselves. We need some expertise, specialty, and people who are passionate about makerspace. I don't know how much you know about makerspace, but that would have everything from wood carpentry to metal fabrication, podcasting, and 3D printing. So we need both from the students and the parents' point of view. So we need some help from the city's point of view. When I say help, it's more like the expertise. Expertise, yeah. Exactly. So we are open to new suggestions and what we want to implement within the city. So I would welcome the citizens to come forward and share their thoughts and ideas.
Awesome. And then our last question is, what are the expected social benefits from the town center, such as community spaces or public events?
Okay. So there's multiple things that's going to happen. On the creek side, it's going to be an open, a amphitheater over the water. Okay. So concerts could happen in there and people can hang out in there. So there's going to be trail around the two ponds. So that is like it's more about the social gathering. Okay, and we are trying to we are looking into bringing a performance theater auditorium. So we would like to see that within the town center area. We're working on this. It still didn't happen, but we are trying to get it within the town center area. When you say performance theater, which is like the concert can happen, musical. So right now, Johns Creek doesn't really have an theater. So you guys already know that. So people are doing it in the high school. So we are trying to get a bigger one where people could do that performance like a events and more professional. That's more professional. And this. So what will happen is this is more for the business uplift. It's when you say it's not just this one, because we will have a tunnel connecting from the other side of the 141. So it's not just the town center area that's gonna prosper. Because of this one, it will have a effects on the neighboring areas. So all the way from the Collie Creek, it will be connected to the Collie Creek too. So basically, we will have the more developments on the other side of the 141, and residents where the things are. It's like a Gen Zs and millennials. They are looking for a place to move in. So the concept right now it's happening is work, play, and live. So they want all three. They don't want to get into the car and drive. So if we have the connectivity and a place where people can gather in a social setting, they would prefer that. So we are trying to create an environment where there's a reason for the Gen Zs and millennials to move into Johns Creek. We're creating an environment for the future.
Awesome. Do you have any additional questions?
I just wanted to ask about, I noticed the Kilimanjaro plaque in the background. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, okay. So I didn't talk about the adventure. So I'm big into hiking.
Oh.
So I did a lot of hikes. So I wouldn't say a lot, but good ones. I did Kilimanjaro in 2017. It's a great experience. And then I did Mount Everest Base Camp in 2019.
Wow.
So that's a different, so if you enjoy the nature, so I just got back a couple of weeks came back from Glacier National Park. So these are like a nature, if you enjoy the nature. So I run half marathons, so it's...
Wow, that's awesome.
I gotta keep myself busy.
You seem very busy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. Do you have anything else?
No.
And thank you so much for giving our listeners a better insight on the construction of the town center.
Sure. Anything you guys need in the future, let me know.
Thank you so much.